So I've been having creative issues, so I decided to take a trip to the beach because I figured no one's going to be here in November.
You can't take a vacation. WarioWare movie just came out.
WarioWare is a series I have quite the history with. And while I wasn't there from the start, I sure have played a majority of the games. Whether it be classic micro games on the GameCube or trying something new on the Wii U, WarioWare is a strange yet lovable series. It takes Wario from the Super Mario franchise and gives him his own little world and characters and throws the player into a gauntlet of micro games. These normally consist of 5 to 10 second mini challenges that has the player learning and adapting to whatever the game is going to throw at you. In reality, this would sound super confusing and stressful. And that's because it is. You never know what a WarioWare game's gonna throw at you next, and that's what makes them special. And while most of the entries in the WarioWare series keep it pretty tight to a formula, a couple tend to stray away, but it never feels off-brand for the series. But no matter what, there's always one WarioWare game that stuck out to me. That one being WarioWare Smooth Moves on the Wii. I feel like motion controls blend together with the WarioWare formula, and the mini-games are better than ever here. But that was a long time ago, and now it's 2023 and the Mario series is killing it on the Switch. With release after release, Mario's a big focus this year. Obviously following the success of the Mario movie, now's the time to release new Mario games, but the last thing I expected to see this year was... Now, the more the years go by, Nintendo's strange obsession with WarioWare grows and grows, which isn't a bad thing. But in 2021, WarioWare Get It Together released on the Switch. It was a fun WarioWare that tried something new, but I did not expect Nintendo to release another WarioWare game 2 years and a month later. This brings us to WarioWare Move It. Now, amongst the hype of Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Mario RPG, I completely forgot this game was coming out. And honestly, unfortunately, I couldn't afford it. But you know me, I scrambled for the cash and picked up a copy. So, WarioWare Move It goes back to WarioWare roots. This game is as classic WarioWare as you're gonna get, but as soon as you boot it up, you're gonna realize this game is essentially WarioWare Smooth Moves 2, which is far from a bad thing. The game starts with Wario winning a vacation to an island resort, and he can bring 20 of his closest friends, and you know what that means, the whole squad comes along for some island fun. How this game works is each micro game is designed to get you up and moving. With a Joy-Con in each hand, these mini challenges are going to show off a ton of things the Joy-Cons can do. Whether it be using the IR motion sensor that I always forget the Joy-Cons have because I'm too cheap to buy night vision on the Nintendo Switch, or making you literally drop the Joy-Cons, which is so scary because these things are $80. But anyway, WarioWare Move It isn't going to do anything to blow your mind, because it really doesn't have to. This is another fun entry in the WarioWare series. You have to know what you're getting into. Now, it's kind of hard to talk about the gameplay for these games because it's so extremely diverse. The game will have you doing one thing, then immediately transitioning you into the next, and in my opinion, this is one of the better WarioWare titles. The charm here is you can really tell the developers are having a great time making these, and that is consistent with the WarioWare series. It really is, how many ideas can we throw out here? And it's really charming because of it. Playing through the story mode is going to keep you ready for all new ways you can use the Joy-Con. There are some great micro games here. How they work and Move It is each one has a different pose that you'll have to perform and use in different ways. Well, for the most part, these are great. But I'm not sure how I feel when I have to use my rear end to either pop a balloon by squatting or roll a snowball by bumping into it. But don't worry, you don't have to be embarrassed alone. The full story mode offers 2-player multiplayer, which will have you and a player share lives and swap off each microgame with a couple of team ones thrown in there. How the story mode works is each character has their own microgames, and while for the most part they're all pretty random, excluding 9V who always has the best ones because they're all Nintendo themed microgames. The game is really fun and you're guaranteed to have a good time. There's just one problem. The game wraps up after probably 2 hours at most. This game goes by real fast. Sure, you can go through it 100%, which will definitely add time, but there's no problem with the game being short if the price wasn't as steep as it is. Well, sure, it's not the usual $60, but I think $30 to $40 makes much more sense for this game. But aside from that, the game offers a ton of multiplayer modes. Each of these are a lot of fun. Most of these can be played with up to 4 players. They pin you head to head in different gauntlets of micro games. My personal favorite being the one where you run from Medusa while completing mini-games. It's essentially red light, green light, but stopping mid-micro games adds some challenge. To wrap it up, there really isn't a whole lot to say about WarioWare Move It. It's another fun entry in the WarioWare series with a ton of gameplay references to smooth moves, which are always welcome. If you love WarioWare, I highly recommend this one. While it's not the best WarioWare has ever been, it's definitely up there. I will say, if you don't know much about WarioWare, this is honestly a great game to start on. It's a wonderful introduction to the series and it'll keep you on your toes from start to finish. just as long as you're willing to empty your wallet for it.